The $1 million question. Should copywriters be shitting their pants about the introduction of AI? This year is definitely not one to be resting on your laurels. You need to be working on your skill set.
I was so scared of sales calls. A couple of years later, doing about 30 grand each month now.
Damn. You can earn 10 times as much and actually work less. Ladies and gentlemen, fireside chat with the one and only Mr. Michael Kennedy. It's good to have you here, dude. It's good to see you again. Please excuse the Christmas tree in January, no shame. So dude, I just want to have a quick chat. Obviously, you've had a fair amount of success with CMB, with the program, and our time working together. And so, just love to hear a little bit about your story, where you started, where you are now, some key lessons you've learned along the way that we can share with our lovely viewers here, so they can take that away and apply that to their own businesses. We'll just take it back if you can remember where you were when you first joined us. It was like 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
In CMB, just starting out. You do a couple grand a month or something like that.
It was about 3 to 4 grand a month.
Hold this here like a
Pretty up and down.
high tech.
And then, a couple of years later, and we're doing about 30 grand each month now.
Damn.
Yeah.
I actually had no idea it was that high. That's so cool.
It's been moving pretty fast.
Wow, so you're like 15x in the last 2 years.
Yep, sure have.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay. And you do media buying, obviously, is your thing that you focus on.
Yeah, services in media buying, so buying ads for clients on monthly retainers.
Solid. So before you started that, when you're doing like 2 grand a month, were you just getting into it? Like, how did you get into the whole media buying thing? Assume like you didn't, graduate primary school and say, Mom, when I grow up, I want to be a media buyer. Like, how'd you get into it?
I started running chatbots. I did an engineering degree, just like yourself.
Except you actually finished it.
I did finish it. And I decided that chatbots was in the marketing space, but it had a bit of an engineering element to it. So I started doing that. People wanted chatbots and they also wanted ads as well. And ads just ended up being a much better opportunity. So I think when I started in CMB, I was doing a mixture of the both.
Yep.
But then, after a bunch of calls with yourself, we ended up just going all in on the ads, better opportunity. And now it's all paid advertising, a little bit of email marketing.
Yeah, that's killer. So how did you get into the whole media buying thing? Was it did you just work it out yourself? Did you take some course?
Started on courses.
Yeah.
I did, my first course was the typical story. I put all of my savings into it. It was learning how to grow an agency starting by yourself from scratch. And I got that. I started doing the chatbots, then moved into advertising after that. Taught myself ads just through jumping into the deep end pretty much. And then it was the freelancing side of it was Upwork. It was getting clients through Upwork, kind of doing anything for anyone that would pay me pretty much.
Yep.
And then, as I said, Facebook ads, out of all of the services that I offered to people, Facebook ads ended up being the best opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, that's solid. So you learned the skill obviously from some courses, from, giving it a go yourself. And then obviously the next step is all right, I have this skill. Now I need to actually get out there and, get paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of the frustrations that you had when it was time to actually get out there and get clients? So you were looking on Upwork and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm guessing you managed to get a few gigs, but they were shitty, low-paying gigs, low-paying clients, overworked, underpaid, the usual.
Yeah. That was a huge part of CMB for me at the start. Was I was so scared of sales calls. I would get on the phone and I would start sweating so much. I didn't know what to set my prices to. I was just anything that anyone would pay me was pretty much was going to work. So I did that for a bit, and then worked on pricing, worked on sales call how to position it, how to set the agenda at the start and work through it, how to do the closing part of it, how to handle objections and all that sort of stuff. And just over the last couple of years, it's become pretty much second nature every time I jump on the phone now. Yeah.
So that was the biggest needle mover for you, I guess. It was going from like, I'm too scared of these sales calls being in these high pressure situations and having to confidently say my price, shut up, let them say something.
Yeah.
So I guess it was easier in the start to avoid all that by just copying like a lower rate and just doing enough work, and at least I don't have to deal with like being on a sales call. Yeah. And so obviously that was a pretty profitable move to get over that fear of sales calls.
Yeah. Second thing was definitely setting the price right. So probably about 6 months into the course, I think it was when you really started getting on to me saying you've got to be doubling this rate instantly. I did not want to do it at all. We were doing, I think it was $800 a month or so for advertising services, and every time I was on a call with you, I don't see why you don't make it $1,600. And I just like didn't want to do it. Eventually I did it. I changed the pricing structure and saw like no extra objections on the calls. Everyone was just as happy as they were with it as it was 800. I think that was a big moment where I kind of cracked through to the more like value-based pricing.
Say that one more time for the people in the back.
Cracked through to the value-based pricing rather than charging per hour, and it made a huge difference.
So you went from 800 to 1600. The same service, didn't change anything, didn't get any pushback.
No pushback at all.
There it is. If you need a solid fucking case study that you can't increase your prices, right there. Which is probably, if you're still getting no pushback, you know what that means.
Yeah.
That's probably a sign to push it up again. Just saying.
Well, we operate on a tiered structure now.
Yep.
So, the people that inevitably couldn't afford the 1600, we now have a downsell. We have the one here. We have also upsells as well, so that we can, if we do really well for someone, we can increase the retainer above that as well, depending on like how much we're spending for them, what our results are and everything. So it's evolved a lot from where it was at the start, where it was just 10 hours each month at an hourly rate or whatever it was at the start.
Yeah, definitely. That's huge. And I mean, I could confidently tell you that you should be charging a lot more, because I was paying $5,000 a month for my ad agency, which was losing me $10,000 per month. So anything probably was a better deal than that.
Would have been.
Yeah, definitely. So increasing your price is obviously a huge one. Massive mistake a lot of people make at the start. To be fair, they are new, so maybe not worthy of commanding high prices, but people do tend to underprice themselves at the start, definitely, rather than overprice. Cool. And then if everything's better in threes, right? So if you had to pick like a third needle mover, I suppose, something that you learned in CMB or that you figured out on your own throughout your journey that helped you go from struggling to get any clients at all to now 30K a month.
Definitely the hiring part. Yeah, that's huge. I think there was a huge bottleneck in believing that clients would only work with me and they wouldn't work with someone that I'd hired to fulfill the service, especially if I'd been working with them for a year or something. And so the service that I'd sold was me working on the accounts. That was a huge bottleneck, especially once I got to a point where I had a workload that was beyond what I could manage myself. So I did get to a point where I had clients knocking at the door, but there was no one to fulfill, and I really didn't want to say no, and that's what kind of made me bite the bullet, go out, hire someone first, which did happen to be someone from CMB as well. And that has been that's probably in recent times the biggest change that I've made. And again, there was absolutely no objection to having someone handle the services so long as the results were the same. So I think the biggest takeaway from the calls was that they're not really, the clients that you're working with, they're not necessarily after you fulfilling the service, they're after the results that it can provide. So if you can hire someone that can deliver the same results that you were delivering, then it's going to make no difference to the service in their eyes.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like all these just bullshit objections and limiting beliefs that we think are fact that we come up with, that we let ourselves, hold ourselves back for so long because of these things. And then you try and increase your price, you hire someone, and the sale just goes smoothly, and you realize, oh, this actually was not a problem at all that I was making it out to be.
Yeah, and it's a huge thing for, copywriters, but also for people in the agency space like myself. There's plenty of people that are kind of still saying, I can't do it because these people, they expect me to fulfill the service, but I had that exact same mindset going into it, and as soon as I switched, it was as if nothing had changed, only I didn't have to fulfill the service anymore. If anything, it got more efficient because the people that I'd hired to fulfill the service, that was their only role. So then I could focus more on like all the business management and client acquisition side of things.
Yeah. I mean, if you're dealing with a big successful business, you kind of don't expect the CEO to be doing everything. Yeah. That'd be a bit of a red flag. Like if I went to buy some Nikes and I found out that the Nike CEO was fucking making the shoes in the sweatshop, I'd be a little bit like, you should probably be doing more important things.
Not very efficient.
Probably not, yeah. But yeah, I know you were stuck at I say stuck, to a lot of people here would be a lot, but I know you were stuck at 8 to 12K a month for a long time, and that's the thing that finally got you through that ceiling to 30.
Yeah, 100%. I was stuck at 8 to 12 a month, but more so because I didn't necessarily want to make it a full-time gig. I think maybe I could have pushed it further, but inevitably I would have reached maybe a higher revenue, but the exact same bottleneck. So it was better to just break through that while I could. And so, the biggest difference that allowed me to get through that was the hiring, for sure.
Yep, definitely, 100%. So, went from 2K a month to 30K a month.
Mm-hmm.
What's different for you? How's your life changed over the last couple of years since making that transition?
Yeah, well, we're here in the Gold Coast. That's always good.
Good place to be.
Being able to work from anywhere has been a huge game changer. I think when I joined, I was doing an internship, like a full-time internship in engineering. And so the difference between that and then being able to work from anywhere, work anytime, and work from here in the Gold Coast has been pretty nice. So that's made a big difference. I wouldn't say that I've needed to, I wouldn't say that my lifestyle's inflated too much, but it's just meant that I've had a lot more freedom to go out and do things that I want to do, a bit more time to keep fit, a bit more time to see mates and socialise, to go and travel, go on more extended trips, because it just means that I can continue working while I'm doing all those things.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And now you have a team to do deliverables for you. So what becomes interesting is that you're earning a lot more and you're working a lot less.
Yeah.
As you build and train and manage your team.
Yeah.
Your role basically becomes more of a management role.
It's the opposite to what you expect it to be.
Yeah. I mean, especially you're trying to get to 7 figures, right?
Absolutely.
And you're not going to hustle your way there by doing everything yourself.
No.
All the ads and, couldn't imagine it. You're crazy. 2 quick final questions to wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
1, to make this as valuable as possible for everyone watching. What are some trends that you've noticed in the industry that you work in, where you think, obviously like AI and stuff like that are a big one? Like next 12 months people should be aware of, where's the industry kind of heading? What should they be focused on? Is there anything maybe as a result of the introduction of AI that they should be doing differently? I'm just kind of curious to hear your thoughts on like where you think the industry as a whole is heading and how people can kind of prepare.
Yeah, well, I think for the copywriting side of things, blog posting, sales letters, everything like that, the role's been largely replaced with like editing. So you go from producing the content to editing for a large amount of people, aside from those that demand like a higher price for their skills. So that's definitely been one. Probably like the bottom 80% of copywriters are going to have to definitely get behind this AI trend, use that for generation, and definitely hone in on their editing skills rather than actually having to write, which is probably more valuable anyway, making sure that things are going to convert. And the second thing is probably, just in the agency space in general, I think with the clients that we have, lead generation, and especially high ticket lead generation, seems to be the best clients that we have at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see where we end up going, but at the moment I'm definitely thinking that we'll probably skew into that side of things soon.
Definitely. The $1 million question. Should copywriters be shitting their pants about the introduction of AI?
Depends how good you are.
Facts. As Michael said, I do think this year, 2023, we are going to see a mass, we could call it a culling if you want to call it that, of copywriters, content writers. And I think if you're in the bottom 80%, you better watch out and make sure you're not in the bottom 80% by the time the end of the year rolls around, or you might just get your ass replaced by ChatGPT. So something to be aware of. And this year is definitely not one to be resting on your laurels. Even if you have existing clients, you need to be working on your skill set, leveling up and making sure that you're irreplaceable. And ultimately at the end of the day, you need to stay ahead of AI if you want to keep your job. So yeah, that's really cool. What's next for you, man? I know you mentioned you just hit 30K a month. You're going to keep going? Yeah. You're going to retire and, sip Mai Tais on the beach all day? Like, what's the end game? What are you shooting for?
No, we're going to keep going. I think the goal is definitely to try and get, by pure vanity metric, to get to a 6-figure month by the end of the year.
Yes. I need more 7-figure case study stories. It's just James and Ray, and then there's like Renzo's so close. I have like 2.5. Balaz is on the way. It's getting lonely.
Yeah.
So we need more.
I've already said to Renzo and Balaz, it's a race to the 84 or 100 or whatever you want to call it. Just because it's the next challenge. You get to 8.3 each month, and then the next thing to go for
83.
Is 83. Why not? Yeah. So we'll definitely do that. And I think another thing is just making sure that I'm enjoying everything that I'm working on. It's definitely worth doing a lot of things that you don't necessarily want to do if it means getting to the first, breaking through the first 10K a month or something like that. But beyond that, the reason you're doing it is probably more so because you want to rather than you need to. So just making sure that everything I'm working on, outsourcing things that I don't want to do, doing more of the things that I do enjoy doing, and just keeping some novelty in there. Maybe doing some other business opportunities, but it depends. See where it goes.
Absolutely. Yeah, and a limiting belief that actually Taki Moore, my old business coach, broke for me, was that it's actually easier to make $1 million a year than it is to make 100,000 a year, because you have a team, you have leverage, you can run ads, you can do so much when you have money coming in that you can't do when you're just bootstrapping it from the ground up. And so I found that to be extremely true from my own experience, that you can earn 10 times as much and actually work less. So it's an exciting place to be.
Yeah, the biggest roadblock to get through at the moment is lead generation. So we're working on it. We've been using all of the methods, we're testing out all the methods that you've handed out in the course and more. And we're just going to find out which method ends up yielding the best results and go all in on that and see if that'll be the trick that takes us even higher.
Absolutely. And scale you to the moon in the resistance. Very exciting. Really cool, man. Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to hang out by our fire. Nice and roasty toasty. Where can people find you online if they want to check you out?
Yeah, so we've got a website, ecomengineers.co is the agency website, and then myself, probably most active on LinkedIn. So that's an easy place to reach out. Only person
I've met who said that.
LinkedIn's huge. You got to get on LinkedIn.
Oh man, I haven't checked LinkedIn in 6 months. Should probably check it.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, sweet. So say what was the website again?
It's ecomengineers.co, ecom-engineers.co.
Boom. Check him out. This guy is really fucking good at what he does. So if you need a media buyer, Michael's your man.
Oh yeah, if you need some ads, you know where to go.
There it is. Cool. Dude, appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely.
You have a dinner to get to, so...
Yes, I do.
We're going to take care of that. And
sounds good.
Hope you enjoyed.